All right, first one on the list here. We're just getting right into it. There's no way my little sister can be this cute. I mean, look at how big and fat her ass is. There's no way that juicy thing can bounce up and down on my dick so hard and me not come like a fucking rocket ship going to space. Like Blue Origin, motherfucker. There's no way. Yes, that's the whole title. Did you really think that was going to be on the list? Did you actually fucking think that that was going to be on the list? Christ, that's not the list I'm talking about. It's in the honorable mention. Hey, what is up? My Gaming Legion, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host today, Gaming Legion. You can call me Legion, you can call me Jacob, whichever you prefer. Despite what the fuck that just was, and what the title of this video is, no, I am not going to be talking about any fucking lolly manga or manhwa or any shit like that. I promise you, we're not here to discuss that today. That's for the archives. But in all seriousness, we're not here to talk about that. I'm not here to talk about any of that. What I'm here to talk about is anime that fuck me up in weird ways. But not in like a weird, I like children way. We don't like children here on the channel. I know the jokes just happened. We don't like children like that on the channel here. No, I'm talking about ones that fuck me up mentally, like, I get depressed as fuck, but also ones that set off something in my brain that make me want to just kill people. I gotta get better at wording how I say this stuff. Just ones that like have like completely different emotional ends of the spectrum and series that I just really love and think are really cool, and I just want to gush about them a little bit. It's a mix between manga and manhwa or Korean manga. So just a bunch that I want to recommend to people because I think you might actually find it interesting. Some that are just interesting to think about. Some of them are just an interesting story to read. Different outputs on stuff, especially with the more I'm depressed in life. A lot of fun with some of these as well, especially with the revenge ones. Like, revenge stories that make me are like, ooh, yes, kill him, kill him, kill him. Obviously, spoilers for a lot of these. I'm not going to give you, like, the full synopsis of the entire goddamn thing, but I am going to be picking out some points from each of the series, so I'll let you know what they are. If you're interested in the story, click off, skip to another part. If you're already reading it and trying to catch up, whoops, sorry. Quick disclaimer, and this is the part of the video where I'm going to be completely 100% like serious right now. There will be subtopics touched on here, especially the first half of the series, where there's going to be a lot of stuff talked about that you may not be comfortable with. So if you are not comfortable with stuff like sexual violence, rape, depression, self-harm, school violence, and bullying, and you have problems with that, please, I encourage you, click off the video, or if you feel like you're okay with it, please continue to watch. Click off if you feel you're uncomfortable with it, but they will be mentioned. Any jokes that are made around it are not in turn to talk down, belittle, or like make light of the situation. It is just to make jokes, and I do not mean to be negative or be, again, belittling anybody who has gone through any of these. Thank you very much. And starting here, we're going to start with the ones that just fuck me up depression-wise and, like, make me want to kill myself. Not legitimately. But they do make me very sad, and I'm like, holy shit. Why am I reading this right now? Oh, it's so good, I have to keep reading. First up here is Sensitive Boy, and this one's not exactly like, oh, I'm super sad, but it's just one that like touches on different aspects of like really serious topics. But it makes you think about them, and they do this through high school boys and their relationships with different people. We got a high school guy. I don't remember any of these bitches' names, by the way. Fuck off. But we got a high school boy to start out with, and he was raped. He was raped when he was back in middle school by his teacher, by his middle school teacher. And then it's him going into high school and dealing with all of that. You know, people hearing like, oh, you got raped by your teacher? You're a boy. Why didn't you do shit about it? Oh, you probably liked it. But he has like actual trauma with it. And it's him trying to find a new girlfriend and like trying to deal with his ex who did not take the fact that he just got raped and was sullied. Like seriously, like she didn't take it like in the best way. So there's that part. There's the second part, which this is multiple different things. It's not just one guy. The first part, which I think it's like the first maybe 15 to 20 chapters, is that guy. And then there's the second guy who is friends with the first guy. I think his name is Izumi, I think, if I remember correctly. But it's him. He was in love with this idol, you know, J-pop idols and all that. And she ended up moving in next to him. She didn't know that he knows who she is, but then it's them kind of getting into a little relationship, but she is like very mentally not there. Like she's mentally screwed up, just with a lot of like depression and stuff, and like, you know, wanting to, like, she would cut herself. She tried to jump off the roof at one point, or whatever. She tried to jump and kill herself. And they also touch on her. Well, no, I'm gonna actually skip that part. That's a little bit that's a spoiler right there. That's a bit of a twist. I don't want to get into that. But essentially, it just gets into like the like mindset behind an idol, like not stretched out like something like Oshinoko, where they get into like I and all that stuff. So it's not as in depth as that, but it definitely touches on, you know, idol culture and, you know, the depression and the stuff behind that, and then parents kind of forcing stuff onto kids as well, especially in that industry. And then the third part of the story, which we are currently in, it's still releasing, is, I think his name is Asami, who is figuring out his sexuality. He would date girls, but he never actually like liked any of them. Like he was literally just dating for the title. And it wasn't even like malicious. He's just, girls would ask him out, he would say, yeah, sure. And then he meets this guy who's in college. That becomes the thing, but that's actually happening right now. But meets this guy who is apparently in college, figuring out his sexuality with him. Is he gay? Is he bi? Is he not? Is he still straight? What's going on? But he's like, I want to pursue this, want to check this out. So Sensitive Boy, like I said, it touches on a lot of deep topics, and or at least sensitive topics. So it's definitely one where it's like, if you don't like hearing about this one thing, you don't like touching on that, I wouldn't read it. But it is a really good series. I think it's great. You really get attached to the main characters here. Even in the few chapters that they have with each of them. Like I said, 15 to 20 for each. I think it's great. I think it's great. So next up here, we have Lost at the Farthest Ends, or it's otherwise known as Saihate ni Mado. Apologies if I butchered that. But it's about 16 chapters, very quick read. I did it within like an hour or two at work. But it is about this guy who he had a little sister, and she was raped and killed. Welcome to depression. So the boy went and killed the rapist in turn. You know, he, as a like little kid, I think he was around middle school at that point. He went, killed the guy, got out of prison 7 years later. He's now like, you know, post high school age. And it's him dealing with the guilt. Not only that, they introduced the daughter of the killer. Who was semi-friends with his little sister. So now he's kind of conflicted where this is an innocent girl, she hasn't done anything, but I also killed her father, and now the girl's kind of like staying at our house, being around a lot more. We're adopting her from the orphanage with, you know, his mother. It definitely brings in that like that guilt and that feeling of how are you supposed to feel towards an innocent person who's only their father has done wrong, and then you did wrong to their father. How's the guilt work around this? And it's a huge thing, and it was so interesting when I read it. I thought it was really interesting. Holy shit. Next up, this was what I was going to do an entire video by itself on, and then I'm like, that is going to take way too long to reread the series, so I scrapped it. But it is called Boys Abyss. This is like 185 chapters. That's why I'm like, I'm not going to do a whole video on this. I don't got the time for that right now. Maybe over the summer. We'll see, maybe. But this one, out of all of these, like, depression, I want to kill myself ones, Boys Abyss might be one of my favorite ones. It is a huge, literally, it's just mindfuck. Everything is mindfucking you. Like, it's all about mind games and shit with everything that's going on. And the main character guy, can't remember the name, shut up, is just in the middle of it and kind of getting pulled around by all the different female characters. This is technically a harem because he's got like 4 or 5 girls that are trying to fuck him all at once, and actually do fuck him in some instances, but at the same time, it's not like your stereotypical harem where it's like, oh, they're all always around him, they're all trying to fuck him. No, they're batshit crazy. You got his mom, you got his teacher, I think you have I want to say his childhood friend. Yeah, his childhood friend. You have an idol that came into town, another idol, that he really liked listening to, along with his childhood friend. And then I think there's one other girl in there that I can't remember off the top of my head. You got a few people who are just fucking around with him. And like, this is like a psychological horror one as well, because of how much is going on. And the story takes so long. Like, I'm going to be honest, they drag this shit out. They like, especially once you get past like chapter, I want to say it's 120, they just start dragging this shit out. It gets so dragged out. But I read this shit within 2 days. I'm not even kidding. I spent I think it was specifically a Wednesday night. I spent 6 hours reading it, got up to like chapter 140, spent the next day at work reading. It was so good. I loved it. It was so good. Again, they do stretch it out, but it was so good. It's a lot of mind-fucking psychological horror. So if you like stuff like that, this is for you. If you can get around the part where the mom wants to try and fuck the kid. Kinda. Does she? I don't actually think she does. She makes it seem like that sometimes, though. Next up is one I actually just read recently, like a week or two ago. It's called The Horizon, about 21 chapters. Super fucking nice. Super fucking nice. So I'm re-recording this, kind of just getting the facts right here. So this is about two kids, about 6 to 7 years old. Got one little boy, one little girl. And it is about them in sort of a post-pandemic world, where the pandemic did not go as well as our 2021 did. So there was a plague, killed off a lot of people, and it is basically just an archaic world that gets left behind. And it's about these two kids wandering the world, or, you know, the area that they're in at least, and, you know, figuring out just life and shit, wanting to be with somebody, how, like, those connections really work, especially in this archaic world. They get to one point where they get into a city and they find a man in a suit, and it starts to touch on how anarchy, and I guess you could say war to some extent, kind of affects people morally, because the man in the suit, spoilers, is like a bad guy. Morally, he is a bad guy. He kills people because they come into the city with guns, so he tries to take them away. He has some people chained up in his basement and basically held captive. But he also wants to try and do it so that he doesn't get harmed and some other people don't get harmed. He helps train up the little boy in combat, at least with a gun. He helps teach the little girl how to cook food, teaches them how to survive. So I guess maybe not, he's not morally bad, he's morally good, but his the way he goes about things is bad and not a morally good way. I think I'm talking about this wrong. He has good intentions. He just doesn't carry them out the best way. But it touches on that, and a little bit later into the story, near the end, it touches on a lot more on companionship and wanting somebody there with you, and all of that. It's just a really nice series to sit down and read and just really think about. You just kind of think about the world and stuff. It's nice. There's a very sad part in the last few episodes, but it's fine. It's fine. We don't talk about that. Okay, but that kind of rounds out all the depression and sad stories and psychological fucks. I want to get into revenge stories now. I want to get into revenge stories because as much as I weirdly love psychological horror and all the deep meaning stuff, do I fucking love me a good revenge, beat the fuck out of people, do some despicable shit. And this is probably where I'm gonna get put on a psycho list. Because some of these I'm just yes. Starting off here, Juvenile Offender, and this is one of my favorite series. This is one of my favorite Manhwa series ever. This is a part of the PTJ comics, along with stuff like Lookism, Viral Hit, Questism, what is it? Dead Mansion, My Life as a Loser, Ulzang Generation, or Ulzang Era, a few other ones that are a part of PTJ comics. But it's in that universe right there. He specifically gets trained by one of the main characters from the other series. I don't want to spoil it. Actually, why the fuck am I talking about that? If you read the other series, you'll know. It's you, Hobbin, motherfucker. You, Hobbin. Bro gets trained by Hobbin, whatever the fuck you want to say. Bro gets trained by him in how to fight and exact revenge. The entire revenge story is he was bullied to shit in, I think it was middle school. He was bullied to shit in middle school by 5 people. Technically 6. By 6 people. and they did a bunch of shit. One guy just beat the fuck out of him every day. Another guy, like, extorted his mom for money. Another one, like, fucked with his grandma. One of them forced his sister into killing herself. One of them, I'm pretty sure she raped him, or at the very least sexually assaulted him. I think that was, like, at least the implication. They don't show it, but it's heavily implied that she did sexually assault him, if not more. Another one that killed his best friend, and then his cousin. Again, spoilers for all this, but like, it's so good because he's just like, I'm not fucking talking. You're dead. I will kill you. And he does kill some of them. Like, the one, I won't give away too much about how everybody ends up, but the first guy that he goes after, which is pretty quick. He does it within like the first 10 chapters, maybe less, but he goes through and he goes into jail, beats the fuck out of him, chokes him out like hundreds of times until he is quite literally brain dead, gets him like completely fucked up. Oh, it is so satisfying. It is so satisfying. It's about 82 chapters. It is a great read. And here's the thing, while I would say read a Viral Hit or How to Fight before you read Juvenile Offender, just because some characters pop up and, you know, you want to understand who they are. You don't have to. It's not really required. But it will be a lot cooler if you read Viral Hit, How to Fight before Juvenile Offender. Next up here, another great one. If you want to do another, like, universe thing, this is a part of the Blue String universe, Get Schooled. Bro, Get Schooled. So this one is about high school violence. Again, it's a lot of what these revenge ones are about, kids in high school. But it is about a new government body in Korea called the Ministry of Education. And they establish a new part of it called the Teachers' Rights Protection Agency, otherwise known as the TRPA. And you have the head of the TRPA along with some of these other characters that end up getting introduced to the squad. Where they go and they handle violence cases against teachers in schools. I mean, it's been a whole thing around the world, at the very least in more civilized areas, where, hey, teachers, you can't really be hitting students. You can't be popping off and going off on them for all that. So there's been a lot of, you know, children's rights protections with that, but teachers' rights don't really get involved in there. And especially, like, nowadays, teachers' rights are like almost thrown out the fucking window, especially in places like America. And I don't know how it looks in South Korea, but based off this series, maybe a little bit more. But anyway, it is going in, and it is helping against teachers' rights protection. They do also help with kids' rights, with like bullying that the teachers are overlooking as well. I think there was one with just like a gang war that was going on that they kind of helped out with. There was another one with, like, it wasn't exactly like a traditional school. It was like out in the countryside. It was one of those like religious school type deals where it's like all different like styles of education, but the guy is like basically a cult leader sort of deal. A lot of that, but it is so cool because they beat the fuck out of the students. Like, these are like grown adults that they have in the TRPA, obviously. They actually kick the fuck out of students. They are not afraid to punch a bitch. And it's just so satisfying seeing some of the redemption that some of these high school kids get. It is still currently going on, and they are finding out about a group that is trying to destroy the TRPA because of like the leader of the TRPA, or the main guy, Nahwajin, and something with his wife. Something around that. We're still figuring that out. But great series. And with that, there is a spin-off series that is currently being released called Sera, which is a prequel to Get Schooled based off of one of the characters that it gets introduced in it. Also, there's racism in Get Schooled. No, I'm not actually kidding. Around chapter 125, they were going to be touching on racism. They actually brought in a white American character. I can't remember his... I think his name is Jason. No, that's a different series. But they brought in a white American character who was going to touch on racism with a black character in Korea. They said the N-word. It was fucking fire. Look, I don't want to get too into it, but I do think with the story, with the way that they were going, it actually made sense why they were doing everything that they were doing. I'm not defending racism or anything like that, obviously, but they were defending the part where the black character was essentially crying racism on everything against everybody that was Korean, and the white guy was just like, dude, I've seen real racism, you don't know what that is. So that's just kind of what it is. If you want to hear it more, go read up to chapter 125. His name is Daniel. But read it for yourself. My explanation does not do it justice. And that chapter 125 was, I think, 2 or 3 years ago when I read that. So yeah, like it had to go on hiatus for 100 days, and they had to completely go to the next part of the story because everybody was complaining in Korea, like, oh my god, you said the N-word in here. You can't be racist like that. You can't do that. I think for the purposes of the story, it made sense, and I would have said, fine, keep it. I should probably cut all that out. I'm not cutting that out. Fuck you. Now, I mentioned Jason earlier, white American, very, very similar to moi. When you see Jason, you're going to think, oh, yeah, this is this guy right here, absolutely. This is in Guard Pass. Now, Jason is not actually the main character, but he is a very prominent side character. The main character here is Lim Sejun, who is going on a revenge arc for his childhood friend, later turned girlfriend, who was beaten the fuck out of by a bunch of guys because she does judo. And school bullies brought her to a high school fight club, essentially. And she got the shit beat out of her, broken arms, broken limbs. She got, in a coma for a little while, and she got thrown into the hospital. So Lim Sejun went from big-ass, fat-ass pig to super buff muscular, and now he is exacting revenge against everybody that did wrong against her. Basically, the entire thing is, trying to take down an organization. It turns into gang wars, essentially. But it gets so good, because, like I said, white American Jason... Bro, Jason, I get hard at Jason. I get hard whenever Jason is in the panel. So, heavy spoilers because this information doesn't come until a lot later. But Jason is American. He used to be ex-military. I want to say maybe Army or Marines. But he was an interrogator. He was a terrorist interrogator who took his job so fucking seriously. He didn't stop at verbal. He had an axe, and he would one of his, again, spoilers, one of his signature things was he would take a full-length mirror, put it in front of the people, and say, I'm going to cut this off, and you're going to stare at the mirror so you can see that you're feeling the pain. You can know that it's real. Chop, goodbye to your hand. Oh, look at that! Dude was unfucking hinged. And again, he goes after some of these people during, this whole thing because, again, heavy spoilers, the childhood friend girl... is basically sort of like a daughter figure to him or not a daughter figure, a niece figure, my apologies, because she looks exactly like his niece who was killed back in America. Again, whole thing, spoilers, but he's also, helping Lim Sejun with all of his revenge and everything. But he is, no holds barred. He will fuck some people up. There's one guy that is, literally a sadist, fucking loves pain. Dude made it so he hated pain. Dude made a sadist who fucking was laughing and, blushing whenever he got punched in the face. Hate that he was getting punched in the face. Knocked out a shitload of his teeth. Broke his fingers. Chopped off a few people's fingers. It gets graphic. But, oh my god, is it so fucking satisfying. Again, I'm probably on a psycho list at this point. FBI, I'm sorry. There's also a lot of judo in there. The Lim Sejun and Jason, they both do judo. Obviously they have the classic, oh, this guy does this martial arts, this guy does this martial arts. As a lot of fighting manhwa end up doing. Next up here is Maria no Danzai. This is about a mother whose son was bullied in middle school. Wow, look at that. Bullied in middle school and ended up getting killed by this group of kids. And she is now going to exact revenge on them. She divorced her husband, completely got plastic surgery, literally fucked her way into her position. I'm not kidding. She gave the principal a blowjob so she could become the school nurse at the school. That was in the very touchy in the comments. People are like, she really did all of that just to get at these guys. I'm like, hey, you know what? It's a revenge story. I'm not here oh no, she sucked dick to get to her goal. Okay. Hey, she's determined. That's all I gotta say. Women empowerment, am I right? All right, let's move on from that. But it is her going against these 5 or 6 high schoolers and dealing with them in such a lovely way. There's one of them about halfway through the story. I think it's the 3rd death where she just takes crossbows to this motherfucker. I'm not even kidding. Takes bow and arrows and crossbows. She writes targets all over him and she's like, go into the forest. Run, bitch. I'm coming for you. Bam to the stomach, bam to the shoulder, bam to the back, bam in his eye. Oh, it feels so good. Just another great revenge story that I love. And finally here, to round out this video, one that I quite literally just got caught up on this morning, and the entire reason I wanted to make this video. Plaything. Holy shit. Plaything. Now, I don't know if this is going to be like my favorite manhwa for revenge, at least, because Juvenile Offender is at the top there. I loved everything about that series. The callbacks to PTJ, the revenge, the ending. I loved all of it. The emotional notes. It was great. It was amazing. But Plaything might have to be a close second, because there's not really a lot of emotional moments in this. You got maybe like one or two where it's like really sad emotional. Holy fuck. The sense of satisfaction, dude. There was some points in here where I'm like, holy shit, they were going so far, I actually kind of feel bad for the people who did the like so much fucked up shit. Synopsis. Let me talk here. So it's about this guy who is the vice president of huge conglomerate company, pretty much. He had a daughter who in middle school got bullied. Wow, original. But she got bullied to fuck. Like, honestly, worse than what some of these other ones did, or at least it seems worse. We only just got through season 1 right now. Like, we haven't gotten through the whole thing. They finished season 1 up a few months ago. We don't have season 2 yet, at least in English. So it is insinuated they have done a lot of fucked up shit to this girl. But just off the few things that they showed in like the first 47 chapters, which is season 1, they took nude photos of her, showed them around to all the guys in the school and the surrounding schools, and did like basically a sex showcase type thing. They didn't rape her yet, as far as I know, but like sexual assault. They made her eat and swallow cigarettes. They beat the fuck out of her. They like took one of them, I believe at the beginning, took a dog leash and walked her around the school like a dog. Like, holy shit. And you know, after a lot of this, and this is at the beginning of the series, she ends up jumping off of the building and killing herself. At least that's what we think happened. But the vice president, vice chairman, whatever, ends up adopting this North Korean defector called Karma, who had a lot of experiments done on her while she was in North Korea from a young age. Just a lot of shit done to her. So she cannot feel any pain, pretty much. She has no shame, and she is almost completely a psychopath. Dude, I love Juvenile Offender for everything it had. If I had to give one thing I like over Plaything more than Juvenile Offender, is the amount of satisfaction that this series gives me in its revenge. Oh my god, it's so satisfying, and sometimes it gets even more than satisfying. I'm just like, ooh, dude, I'm not gonna say anything, but one of them, Karma, is enrolled in the high school that some of these girls are at, and going up against one of the girls that made her swallow a shitload of cigarettes. But she's going up against her, and she said, all right, you made her swallow a shitload of cigarettes. I remember reading in her diary, she mentioned vomiting about 110 or 101 times. So you're gonna vomit a shitload. What did she do? She took seaweed extract, little seaweed extract balls, pulled them out. She then filled up 6 1-liter water bottles. So what are these? Times this by 12. And she filled these completely with little seaweed extract balls. She then also had 6 liters of, or sorry, no, I think it's about 1.5 liters of water. For anybody that doesn't know how some of this works, when you take dried seaweed and you put water in it, it expands. So what do you think happens when you have like 6 liters of dried extract seaweed shoved into your stomach? And I'm not even kidding. She put a garden hose right there, funneled that shit in, and then 6.5 liters. That bitch expands, dude. Dude, she... Oh, this is where I'm like, okay, now this feels bad. This is the point where I'm like, ooh, this feels bad. Because she made her vomit up everything, all the seaweed, 385 times or something like that in 35 minutes. She's sitting in the gymnasium on the ground, hogtied, by the way. She does it like the girl that's throwing up, hogtied, by the way. with bandages. She can't move. Just spewing shit. Throwing up for 35 minutes straight. Oh my god, it was great! There's also an NTR part. There's also an NTR part right before that. Which, no sex. There is no sex in this, by the way. There's no sex, at least not right now. But she steals that girl's boyfriend. And like, you know, the girl that was shoving cigarettes down her throat. She's in her, like, cram school. And the Karma's just like, hey, texted her, hey, turn around, look out the window. She's up on a roof. She's got this girl's boyfriend. She says, come here. Smooches, throws him down, smooches him again. Like, on the thing, dude. Oh my god. It was so badass. Oh my god, I loved it. This is the series where it's like, if I gush about this too much, I might quite literally get put on a list. But dude, it was, I loved it. It goes so far with how much she fucks with them. Oh, and I love it. I love it. I was sitting there at work this morning reading this, like getting through it, and like nobody's around. It's like 5 a.m. I'm just standing up like, oh fuck yeah, oh fuck yeah, yes, yes. I love this series, dude. I love this series. Whoever is translating it, I need you to come back and continue, like, getting us season 2. Please, please. But ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be the video. I probably have some others that I just didn't see, but these are the ones I could remember off the top of my head and I could quickly see in my my reading list that I have. So, yeah, maybe I'll do another one about romance, because I have a lot of romance series that I'm reading. But I just want to do this little shitpost video. I haven't made one in a while, and I apologize for that. Finals have been coming up, and I have my finals next week, so haven't been able to focus on YouTube as much. I have been streaming, though, because I have time to do that, and I would rather stream than make a video, if I'm honest. So I apologize. Hopefully after next week, basically like after the second week of May, I will be back. It'll be summertime for me. I'm going to be staying here back at college for the summer so I can work. But I will be able to make videos, stream a little bit more, just give you guys some more content. So I hope that I can do that. We're going to be talking about emulation because I have a video ready for that. I just don't have the time to record or edit it right now. And I'll also have other ones talking about anime, more things in gaming. Once the Switch 2 comes out, there will be videos about that. And also, please come check me out on stream. Currently, we are going to be streaming Claire Obscure Expedition 33. We finally beat First Berserker Kazan back on Friday. I'm so happy. I'm so glad. I am replaying through it this weekend. I'm actually taking a break from playing it right now. So that I can make this video, but I need to get one more trophy, which is get the true ending because I fucked that up before. So I'm replaying through the whole thing. I almost beat it though. I'm literally on the last 3 main missions, and then I beat the game. But come check me out over the weekdays, and once the summer starts, maybe the weekends as well, where we will be playing Claire Obscure Expedition 33. I am so excited to continue playing that. I loved it when I first played it. I've been seeing clips and I'm loving those. I'm so excited to get back into it. But otherwise, please check me out. Subscribe here onto the channel. Go to my VOD channel. Subscribe there. Check me out on TikTok and Twitch for streaming, and TikTok, just for TikToks. And I will see you guys on stream, maybe in the next video. Peace out. I love all y'all. Oh yeah, I should probably Just like it's saying that, and you suck it up good, get the brain like Juvenille, we shook